So the next question was basically going to be, do you think, that next season Franklin and Reed will be enemies? And we kind of discussed this a
Hmm.
lot, but this episode makes it seem more apparent that that's going to happen. And then of course the previews, whether they're playing tricks on us or not, it makes it seem like that's coming. So I for me to answer this question real quick, I want to refer to something we discussed last week, right? Because we
Hmm.
had a conversation about whether we think season five will be the last season of Snowfall, and
Hmm.
one of the points we made was that now that this whole CIA thing is blown up, and it's likely that basically that is going to cause a rift between the two characters, and that once that happens, that's going to lead to the end of the show, because it's like, how much further can you go after that, right?
Hmm.
So that was like one of our main points. But somebody in the comments said something interesting, when we posted a clip of that discussion,
Uh-oh.
and they kind of made a point that although Irene published that article, she didn't complete the full objective because she had more planned, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And we saw the CIA come into the newsroom or whatever to try and see what's going on, and I guess slow down the story or whatever. So like, I guess his point was that the story wasn't blown wide open. It's just the what she put out there was the fact that CIA are allowing drugs to be sold, and to fund the Nicaragua war or whatever. She put out that information. And of course people associated that with Franklin, so people know Franklin's involvement and stuff
Hmm.
in the local area. But the main point is that it hasn't maybe it hasn't broken nationally on a national scale. So like, it's not like a because she didn't blow open the whole story. It's not like a fully it's not like a fully covered news story across the nation or whatever.
Hmm.
So maybe, I guess he's saying that maybe if they get rid of Irene and Alton, there's a chance that they could continue to still doing business, right? And then
Yeah.
we can get another season out of it, maybe. So, what do you think the likelihood of that is? Like, do you see that being a possibility?
So yeah, I will say a few things. First and foremost, that's a very good theory, because it definitely would prolong the show a little bit longer. One interesting thing that I have noticed after I watched the episode, because I was actually on Twitter, and you know how now you're able to have the spaces conversations on Twitter. I actually joined a conversation with it was uh Aunt Louie, the actress that plays Aunt Louie, and the actor that plays Uncle Jerome. So they was in there, the fans were talking, and you're able to say what you think about the show, give your reactions, and some of the conversations that they had in there, I'm talking about the fans, not the actual actors, because they can't reveal what happens. They were saying that they really like the dynamic between Teddy and Franklin, so they don't want them to be at odds with each other, because it felt like this whole season they were a lot cooler. You saw, you know, Teddy come into the club and just casually have conversations. Obviously, those conversations started to get, a lot more hostile towards the end of the season because of what's been happening. But it just feel like they have a very cool dynamic, and you like to see them working together. So a lot of people feel that way. I think for that reason, they don't want to see them at odds yet. But as you said, whenever they get at odds and there's tension, I do feel that that's when the show is going to start to come to an end. So the point that was made is a very good point. One thing I will say is that because of this situation that happened with Irene, I 100% believe you're going to see Melody again. Because if you recall, she was one of the first people that she spoke to. So imagine how Melody's response is going to be when she finds out, oh, this lady died. You know that there's more to the story. So that is going to definitely bring that actress, because I know people have been asking at least from what I've seen online, they've been asking where is Rain Edwards. She hasn't been on at all this season, only for one episode. I'm pretty sure she's going to make a return. By the way, for those that don't know, she is into music now too. So I'm pretty sure she's busy with all these other things she wants to pursue aside from just acting. But I do feel we'll see her again maybe next season, because now it feels like she helped to try and talk to this lady about what happened. There's no way she's not going to have a reaction to that unless they just decide to go in a completely different direction. So we'll see how that goes. But to answer the question specifically, because I know I had a lot of different things I said, I don't really know what's going to happen between Teddy and Franklin as far as next week. Next season, do I think they could become enemies? Absolutely. And it will be a very interesting dynamic, because if you notice, a couple of seasons, the final shots that happen in the season is a conversation that happens between Teddy and Franklin, because it was last season where Teddy and Franklin had that conversation, and Franklin revealed that he knows that Teddy's a CIA agent, all this other stuff. This is after he got shot and all this other stuff. So, but yet they have still been working together. So I kind of feel like it is going to happen at some point. But next season, I do believe it is going to escalate next season, and it's going to be because of what happens next week in the finale. I'm not saying that I know for sure Reed is going to kill Alton or Franklin is going to kill Alton. That could certainly happen. But whatever happens with Alton, it's going to impact Franklin's relationship with his mom. So that's when things are going to start to unravel, because that's the bigger picture in all of this. You know, she obviously still cares about Alton, did not want to go away with him to Cuba. And the fact that he decided to stay behind, knowing that this is a dangerous situation, means that he is definitely not. I don't feel like he's definitely going to survive that. So, but when that happens, it's going to definitely, because she was already tired. She kept saying that she's tired. She wanted to get out. This is going to make her feel that way even more so, and it's going to cause issues between her and Franklin. So, yeah, I definitely could see this starting to impact Teddy and Franklin moving forward. Definitely next season, but we'll see what happens next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because obviously we know that Reed is probably, I don't know if he's like suspended or fired or whatever it is from the CIA. That means Gustavo is in control of the shipments and everything, and handling all that stuff. But those two characters are still cool with each other, like Reed and Gustavo, so they could still work together, on an unofficial basis, right? And so it really does depend where they go next week, because if Franklin is for getting rid of Alton, and he, and I don't know, it's either gonna be Reed, Gustavo, or Franklin who kills Alton if he does die, probably. So it could be any one of those three, right? But and if that happens, like we say, and Alton ends up dead, there is a chance they could continue to do business, right? But I do think that is going to be the start of, like you said, that is going to be the start of the tension. So they might still continue to work with each other into season 5, but we're going to see the rift play out throughout that season, I think. And
that's a good point.
Yeah. And if once Alton dies, like, it's not going to be the same anymore. Like, Franklin isn't going to run the business the same as he did before. Like, now he's going to have to deal with, his mother. She's probably not going to be talking to him, or she's going to be upset, or she might do something, impulsive after that. And then we have to remember as well, the street business is not done with, because Scully is still alive. So,
and that actually was, and I just thought of something when you said that about, I know we already mentioned earlier on this podcast that Scully is more than likely going to come after Jerome, maybe even come after Leon. But here's one thing that I just thought of, and it makes perfect sense. So Fatback's people, and the guy that he said that he is now working with Leon, I remember that guy specifically giving Leon and Jerome access to other soldiers, to other people in the crew. But he said if anything happens to them, now it's a problem. So if Scully was to try to come back to the neighborhood and he saw maybe he went after Franklin, but he didn't quite get Franklin, but he did take out some people that are working with Leon and his crew. I'm going to say Leon, not Franklin. If he went after Leon and he ends up coming after Leon's crew and kills some of them, now that causes issues now because Fatback's people already said that the guy in charge, I forget his name, he said that he did not want anything to happen to them. So really, Scully has multiple ways he can come after them. He can come after them directly, or he can come after others that are close to them, which is what he was going to do anyway before, but he never did it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and obviously, like, Scully doesn't have Manboy's crew to lean on because Manboy had his own crew. So it's like I guess Scully has like his own people that he can get to help him or whatever. But this is a man who's lost everything. Like he lost his daughter, he lost his girl, and him and Manboy weren't like 100% friends, but they because of the death of the the child, they united, and they were working together, right? So but he's lost all of that now, so he is going to retaliate, especially because of the last conversation he had with Khadija, because she was trying to get him to man up, and she wanted him to come with her as well, so he's going to be feeling some sort of guilt that he didn't go with her. So he is going to retaliate for sure. Like, there's no way he's not going to clap back now. He's been lazy this whole time, like eating cereal and eating pizza or whatever. But but yeah, like now he's going to be like he's going to be an action hero now. Like, basically, like he's going to hit the streets. He's going to he's going to be out for blood now. So and I don't know if they're gonna delay that for season 5. Like, I don't know if we're gonna see that play out next week or not. But that could be the person who was giving Franklin the threats on the phone or something. So
I will just say this. I think Aunt Louie needs to get out that hospital because I kind of have a feeling that the season could end with him killing either her or Jerome. And like I said, obviously, Louis is very vulnerable, is in a very vulnerable position right now because she's in the hospital. So if he was to show up there, I mean, and just I don't think he's going to do that. But again, you don't know. But yeah, if the season was to end that way, like all this time we're talking about, Alton's probably going to get killed, and maybe that is going to happen. But if it ends that way, and then something else happens that Scully does to either Jerome or Louis or someone else, that'll be pretty crazy if that happens. Yeah. Because then that whole thing next season is going to be about, obviously, Franklin's still running the business to some degree, but then you'll have all this other stuff going on. But again, it's hard to really gauge what's going to happen. One thing I do know for a fact is that it doesn't feel to me like Louis is going to... anything is going to happen to Louis yet, because she has to see the impact of what she has done with bringing that business over to Arkansas.
Yeah.
And that for sure, I know we're going to see next season. I don't think they're going to rush to show us that next week. But next season, because you need some time to pass before you can see how it rips apart the family, because it is going to tear apart that family that... her family that she sent it, that she actually gave the recipe to and everything. So we'll see what happens. But it's a lot to dissect. We'll have to wait and see. But something's definitely going to happen with Scully, as you said, in a matter of time. He's going to take some action.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so thinking about it now, there's a lot they can do with season 5. So I'm definitely excited. I'm excited for the finale and to just to see what the direction is going to be.